Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prodigy channel, and in today's video, I'm going to be setting my lineups for Week 3 of the 2021 Fantasy Football season. We do one of these videos every week, so we're just going to continue doing it. So, we have 4 leagues. This is a non-PPR 12-team league. In each league, I'm going to recap the previous week, go over the transactions I made, and then the most important part, we're going to set our lineups. And we have some tough decisions to make today, so hopefully we can help you out with any tough decisions you have to make as well. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So this is the League of Bros, 12-team non-PPR. This was last week. I bounced back after a rough week 1 and ended up getting the victory pretty easily. Let's quickly recap. We got Tom Brady and Derrick Henry going crazy. DJ Moore had a solid game. Deebo Samuel, Calvin Ridley. My tight end position is really weak. I started Zach Ertz in week 1, Adam Troutman in week 2, but we made a trade to improve that tight end position, which I did make a video going over that trade as well. If you want to check that out, I posted that recently. But yeah, this was the team. Courtland Sutton had a good game on the bench. In terms of transactions, I think I had it open a little bit ago. Where is it at? Here it is. So we actually made a big trade. I traded away Courtland Sutton and Austin Hooper for Mark Andrews, which is a big trade for my team. Now we have a solid tight end 1. I also picked up Justin Fields because he's starting. I put Zach Ertz on the COVID list, and I also added Jeff Wilson. But then I cut Zach Ertz because through the trade and through putting people on the COVID list or the injured reserve list, we had 2 roster spots. So I cut Zach Ertz and then added Elijah Moore and Damien Williams. All right, now the important part. Let's set our lineup for this week. So Tom Brady against LA, that's a lock. Derrick Henry and David Montgomery, those are every week starts for me. DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, same thing. Mark Andrews against Detroit. I don't mind that at all. Hopefully he gets back on track here. He's had a pretty slow start to the season. You can see his points here, our newly acquired tight end, but he's still like a mid-tier tight end 1. So we're going to roll with him. Obviously, we have no better options. And the only real decision I have to make this week is in the flex. Deebo Samuel against Green Bay, who has gotten off to a hot start. I got him in like the 8th or 9th or 10th round, something in our startup draft. Or Mike Davis, who I drafted him pretty early, but he hasn't had a crazy good game. Against Philadelphia, the game script was pretty poor for him. Tampa Bay has an elite run defense, so I wasn't surprised that he did poorly in that game. In fact, I made him a sit of the week in my starts and sits videos, but he is involved in the passing game, and this matchup with the Giants doesn't really scare me, but Deebo Samuel's been too hot. This could be a high-scoring game against Green Bay. As of now, I'm going to go with Deebo. If I do change my mind and go with Mike Davis, or if I make any changes later in this or later in the week, I will comment it down below. But yeah, that's our move as of now. And I no longer have Courtland Sutton, so we don't have to worry about him, but we will be playing him in another league, I think. We got Mason Crosby against the 49ers and Denver against the New York Jets. And Zach Wilson just threw 4 interceptions last week against the Patriots. So we'll see if Denver can replicate the Patriots' success there. But here we go. We're on to the next league. Is this a 10-team or 12-team? How do I find out? Members? What? Members. 10-team. We got there. 10-team, half PPR. We also have 3 wide receivers, a flex. It's a 2-quarterback league or offensive position, whatever you want to call it. We also have a punter and a head coach. It's just kind of a weird thing. It's a free league, so whatever. But I was able to go to 2-0. I really like this team. We got great quarterbacks on this squad. The league didn't grasp the concept that this was a 2-quarterback league, so they need to go early. So we got Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Allen, he's been a little cold to start the year, but I'm not too worried. Patrick Mahomes had a great game. TJ Hawkinson, the tight end breakout continues. As you can see, my running backs did well with Dalvin Cook, Damian Harris, and even Mike Davis in a half PPR league. He ended up having an okay game because he was very involved in the passing game against Tampa Bay. So I can tell you, he had 7 receptions. I don't know what his targets were. He's 7 targets. Okay, he had 7 targets, caught all 7 of them. Not a lot of yards, but if you're in a PPR league, that racks up. I played Antonio Brown, who he was in my stardom video, and he actually played really poorly. But now he's on the COVID list, so we don't have to worry about starting him. But I think in Tampa Bay, it's just going to cycle through players that, at 1 week it'll be this player that's left out. Next week it'll be a different player because they're just so deep at wide receiver that not everyone can eat every week. But Tyler Lockett went crazy. Calvin really had a good game. So you get the point. There's the bench if you care. Jalen Hurts had a pretty good game. So transaction-wise, what did we do here, ladies and gentlemen? Did we add anyone? I don't even remember. Albuquerque Heisenberg. Oh, I added a couple people. So I added Alexander Mattison because we have a little bit of worry with Dalvin Cook this week. I'll go over that in a second. And then I also added Rondale Moore for free. He's been looking really explosive against the Vikings. He had a big play. You can see his box score here, 7 for 114 and a touchdown, 4 for 68. Hopefully he starts to get a bigger role, play more snaps throughout the season. So I added him not only as a speculative long-term ad, but someone that I do actually need to start this week because, as you can see, we lost Raheem Mostert. It was week 1 he got injured. He got put on IR. Now Antonio Brown is out. So this is our lineup for this week. Instead of Antonio Brown, I'm playing Rondale Moore. I decided to play him over guys like DeVante Parker, Darnell, Mooney. I don't hate Mooney this week, but Justin Fields is getting his first start this week against Cleveland. I don't really want to put Mooney in the lineup first start with a rookie quarterback. Just because, I don't know. It doesn't really worry me. I think Fields can get him the ball, but I'm just going to go with Rondale Moore with a good matchup against Jacksonville. I don't hate that at all. But going over the rest of the lineup, Mahomes and Josh Allen, obviously. I'm not going to pull the trigger on putting Jalen Hurts in over Josh Allen just quite yet. But if it's another week where Jalen Hurts produces and Josh Allen is kind of stale, as you can see, Josh Allen here, 17, 16 points. And Jalen Hurts, he's putting up numbers 28, 21. And this 21 was in a game where he didn't even throw a passing touchdown and he threw for 190 yards. So that's the power of the rushing quarterback. But Josh Allen has the rushing ability as well. So in this league, we are starting Mike Davis. Again, I don't hate Mike Davis this week, but in the other league, I just really wanted to go with Deebo Samuel. And this is a half PPR league, so hopefully Mike Davis continues to get peppered with targets. Damien Harris is questionable. As of now, it doesn't seem like he's going to miss the game, so he's in there for now. If he is out, I'll probably just put Latavius Murray in for him against Detroit. That's a nice, juicy matchup. And then we got Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, every week starts. Rondale Moore, I already talked about. TJ Hawkinson, he's had a great start to the season in this half PPR league. He's been over 20 points each of the first 2 weeks. He's getting 10, 9 targets, 8. Yeah, I mean, that's great for a tight end. That's fantastic. And Dalvin Cook is questionable. Now, he does have a chance of missing the game. As you can see, as of this recording, I'm recording this on September 23rd, 2021 at about 2:17 p.m. You can see the clock, actually. He's missing some practices. So he's dealing with an ankle injury, it looks like. So I did pick up Alexander Mattison, like I said. So if Dalvin Cook doesn't play, I'll just plug Alexander Mattison right into Dalvin Cook's spot. Also, I got to put the Chiefs head coach right there. All right, anyways. I could also put Latavius Murray in for Dalvin Cook if he weren't to play. That's a decision I'll have to make. As of now, I'd probably just go Mattison. Because in Baltimore, they got Tyson Williams, Latavius Murray is involved. I saw that Devonta Freeman had a couple carries in week 2. So it's a really good matchup with Detroit. So I could definitely see Latavius Murray getting in the end zone. But I feel like Alexander Mattison will get more volume than Murray will, as long as the Vikings aren't getting blown out against Seattle, which, I mean, I'm a Vikings fan. We've kept all these games close. We just choked at the end. So as of now, I'm going to say that I'll replace Cook with Latavius Murray. But anyways, moving on to this next league. This was an auction draft league. This is another 2-quarterback league. And it's a 2, 4, 6. It's a 10-team league. So this was last week's matchup. I had 170 points, which was easily the most in the league. In this league, I went with a very top-heavy approach with my auction money. We got Davante Adams, Aaron Jones, and Travis Kelce. In my stardom sit-in video heading into week 2, I made Davante Adams and Aaron Jones stardoms. I know it's kind of cheap because you would think, oh, obviously they're both first-round picks. But after week 1, you know how some people are. They panic after 1 week. They think that, they just overreact. So I put it out there that I thought the Packers were going to bounce back and a great matchup against Detroit, and they really did. Adams had 16.1. Aaron Jones, 38.5. He had 4 touchdowns in that game. I think 3 were receiving, were they not? Yeah, 3 receiving touchdowns and a rushing touchdown, which is crazy. But yeah, Teddy Bridgewater actually not looking too, he's putting up numbers. He's doing enough as my second quarterback. I was really worried about that second quarterback spot with, I drafted, I spent up, as another play I spent up for was Kyler Murray, but I ran out of money at the end of the draft and I couldn't even afford anything other than $1 bids. So my second quarterback options were Teddy, Zach Wilson, Jared Goff. Not very great options, but Teddy's been balling out. Other than that, I played Nyheim Hines. So heading into this matchup, this is actually something I should talk about, is I said that I was going to play Tim Patrick, but that on Sunday morning, I commented it on my previous video, like my previous setting lineups video. I made the switch of playing Nyheim Hines. I thought against the Rams, the Colts would be dumping it off a lot, not much open downfield, but for some reason, Nyheim Hines has this thing where he'll be really involved one week and then the next week not at all. So I was worried about that, but I went with Hines. He only scored 2.7, while Tim Patrick scored 11.2. This is half PPR, by the way. I don't know if I said that, but we started off the week with Sterling Shepard, very involved against Washington. He had 13 half PPR points, 10 targets, 9 receptions. He was a great waiver wire addition for me. Speaking of the waiver wire, I will go over any additions that I made. I added Tony Jones Jr. last week, or heading into week 2, and I dropped Tony Pollard. I wish I didn't do that, but we ended up dropping Tony Jones Jr. anyways this week for a different player. Devin Singletary is someone that had a good game in week 2. I might be playing him this week heading into week 3. He had 13 rushes for 82 yards and a touchdown. I know he had a big play in there at some point. He's just not seeing a ton of touches, but he's been really efficient with it, so maybe he'll get afforded more touches moving forward. But yeah, this was week 2. Travis Kelce did his thing. DJ Moore, yeah, really good week. James Robinson and Hines, I'm a little worried there, but quickly we'll go over the transactions here. So all I did was I dropped Tony Jones Jr. and added Emmanuel Sanders. He's been pretty involved actually with Buffalo, 8 and 6 targets across 2 weeks. I like that. It hasn't amounted to crazy fantasy points yet, but I think that'll come if he keeps being involved target-wise. He'll get in the end zone hopefully eventually. He only caught 2 of 6 targets, but I heard that he was open on some plays and he's playing a lot of snaps. They're just trying to get that connection down, I guess. So I'll believe that narrative and hopefully he'll turn into something, because I dropped Tony Pollard and he had a great week too, and someone had already picked him up after I had dropped him. So yeah, I don't want that to come back to bite me too hard, but here we are setting the week 3 lineups. Kyler Murray against Jacksonville, that's a lock. We're playing Teddy Bridgewater against the Jets over Zach Wilson at Denver, or Jared Goff against Baltimore. Teddy's just putting up more points than them right now, and it's a better matchup, so I'm going with that. James Robinson, even though he's struggling, I'll show you his stats here quick. Not super involved. The offense is just not looking great in Jacksonville. It's hard for them to really pound the rock when they're looking so bad. He's more involved in week 2 than week 1, though, so that's good to see. So in a matchup against Arizona, hey man, Arizona, that's a scary matchup for Jacksonville. Hopefully Arizona doesn't get up too big with James Robinson. They just don't rush with him very much, but I don't really have any better options. Aaron Jones in the flex, and if you're wondering why I have Aaron Jones in the flex instead of a running back spot, I go over this every video, but it's because he's the Sunday night game. So if he's playing late, if you have a player that's playing later in the game or later in the day, you want him to be in the flex, so you have more flexibility if you want to replace that player in your lineup for whatever reason, if something happens. I am playing Devin Singletary. The only decision that I had to make was a few players, I guess. You could play Hines. Mooney was another player I considered. I thought about putting Aaron Jones in my second running back spot and putting Mooney in the flex. Tim Patrick. Actually, I should talk about him. I really liked him heading into week 2 against Jacksonville. Great matchup. Again, though, even with Jerry Jeudy out for the Denver Broncos, he only saw 4 targets, same as week 1. Luckily, he got in the end zone, but as you can see, he's only gotten 4 targets. I don't know why. I thought he'd be more involved, but I don't hate the matchup against the Jets, and maybe he'll get in the end zone again, but I want to see him a little more involved target-wise before I put him back in the lineup, or before I put him in the lineup at all, because I actually ended up not starting him last week. I almost did, but I didn't. So Jalen Reagor, yeah. So all those players, you see all the players on the bench. I'm decided as of now to go with Devin Singletary again. If I change it, I'll comment it down below. But Davante Adams is a lock. DJ Moore is a lock. And Sterling Shepard, good matchup with Atlanta. He's been involved. Hopefully he continues to see like that 9-10 targets, something like that, double-digit targets. And yeah, I just need him to be solid because we have some really heavy hitters in this lineup. And then Kelce at tight end is a lock. Also, one more thing I forgot to mention is that in this league, since I brought up Tim Patrick, I made that switch with Tim Patrick and Hines. In this league, in week 2, I did actually also make a switch where in the setting lineups video, I said I was starting Antonio Brown. I switched it to Deebo Samuel. Deebo had 10.1 points. AB only had 1.7. So I forgot to mention that. But okay, moving on. This is our final league. This is a Dynasty League, half PPR. It's a double flex, 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 2 running back, 1 quarterback. You can see the starting lineups here. We got a defense as well. But this was week 2. It was a very close matchup. Prodigious versus the Prodigious 6. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but you can see Mike Williams. He's someone that I a while back, I traded away D.D. Westbrook and Christian Kirk. This was like a year or two ago, back when Dede and Christian Kirk were much more highly valued. I traded both of them away for Mike Williams, and Mike Williams had a good week 1. I put him in my lineup, and normally when I would put Mike Williams into my lineup after he had a good game, he'd just fizzle. He's a very inconsistent player. He'd get injured, or he just wouldn't have a good game for whatever reason. But Mike Williams had another good game in this half PPR league, about 18 points in each of the last 2 weeks. So I'm very excited for him long term. But yeah, my 3 running backs, Sanders, Taylor, and Mixon, they all put up duds, honestly, and I still was able to win. Tom Brady, good week. Mike Williams, Hopkins, Godwin, and Ridley, they all got in the end zone for me. George Kittle, another poor week. And the Bears defense had 20. So, I just realized, okay, I only won by like less than 2 points. So what I was going to say was DeAndre Swift was the last player in this matchup that any of us had. He needed 10, 11 points, something like that. He finished with 9.8. The majority of that came on the final drive of that game in garbage time. And I honestly thought that he was going to catch one more pass and beat me with DeAndre Swift just getting stupid garbage time points. But luckily, he got this one target and he was open, but they just didn't connect. And if he would have caught that, I would have lost. But we lucked out. We're undefeated. So in terms of activity, have I even added anyone? I don't even think I added anyone. I wish I could just look at it by my own team. Oh, here we go. Prodigious. So yeah, I did actually add Cedric Wilson and cut Matt Breida a few days ago. Cedric Wilson is a receiver for Dallas. So I don't know. This is a dynasty league, so the benches are very deep. But anyways, moving on, we're setting our lineup. So Tom Brady, playing him. Mixon, Taylor, Sanders. I'm playing all of them, even though they didn't have the greatest week 2s. They're locked and loaded. Hopkins, Ridley, Godwin are locked in. And I'm actually going with Courtland Sutton over Mike Williams. Mike Williams I played last week. This week, Mike Williams gets Kansas City. Courtland Sutton had a great week 2. First game without Jerry Jeudy there. And he wasn't very involved in week 1. It could have been a result of him coming back from the injury. But week 2, he looked like he's back to full form. 12 targets, 9 receptions, 159 yards. So I have a very deep team. I'm just going with Sutton against the Jets. I just really like that matchup with the New York Jets. I think Teddy Bridgewater will throw 1 or 2 touchdowns in this game, maybe even 3, depending on if they decide to rush the ball in or throw it. It really just comes down to play calling. But if Teddy Bridgewater is throwing multiple touchdowns, I expect hopefully at least one of them to go to Sutton. I could also play Mike Davis, James Robinson. But yeah, that's really the only decision I have to make. Marvin Jones, Chase Claypool. But yeah, I'm going with Courtland Sutton just because of the matchup, and hopefully, and he was so involved in week 2. He's really their main receiver there now that Judy's out for a while. So yeah, I'm going to ride the wave with him. I do want to keep Mike Williams in there, but yeah, I'm just going to go with Sutton. And I'm not putting Mike Williams in there over any of these other guys. So it's not that I don't like Mike Williams this week. It's just I have better options in my opinion. So I'm going to keep rolling with George Kittle, obviously. He hasn't had a great start to the season, as you can see. 9.8, 3.7 in half PPR, but you just got to roll with it. And then I'm playing the Bears defense against Cleveland over the Chargers defense against the Chiefs, obviously. There's no waiver wire defenses in this league, so it's a very deep benches. So, yeah, we had another setting lineups video here for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I kind of like doing these videos just to show you what's going on in my leagues. And if anyone's new to fantasy, you can kind of see what the decision-making process looks like, or if you're just interested to see what other leagues are doing out there. So, yeah. That's going to do it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Peace out.